I'm Dr. Wagner with Natural Health for All Ages. I'm a naturopathic physician, and naturopathy is a branch of medicine that studies human health and how to use natural substances to increase the health. Food and diet are tools that we use a lot to help increase people's health, and our topic today is nutrition for children. Healthy children bring such joy to our lives. When they're healthy and running around, then we're happy and healthy altogether. But if there's a child that is sick or has a chronic illness or gets a lot of illnesses, then it brings a lot of stress to the family. There's usually lost time sleeping, there's usually missed school, there's a lot of medical expenses. So if we can keep the children healthy, that is a really important goal. And one of the easiest ways to influence the health of children is with their diet and what they're eating. We can give our children a healthy foundation on which to build their future. Now let's start with infants. Now with infants, breast milk is the ideal. It's made specifically for human babies and the human baby's needs. It has the correct ratios of fats, carbohydrates, and proteins for humans. If you take a cow's milk, you have to add a lot of ingredients in order to make it a good food for a baby. Straight cow milk will not let a baby's brain develop normally, so do not use that for the first year of their life. If you can't breastfeed, then use a formula. Breast milk also has immune stimulators to protect children from childhood diseases, and the ingredients are not sitting on a shelf oxidizing or being coated in preservatives to stop them from oxidizing. If you do not produce enough milk for your baby, you don't have to all of a sudden give up. You can either supplement your breastfeeding with a formula, or there's certain herbs like fenugreek and hops that can actually enhance production. If you have any other questions about breastfeeding, there's wonderful resources in the community through the La Leche League, and there's actually a chapter here in Lake Orion. They have wonderful leaders. They can answer all your questions, and they also offer support so you can meet other moms that are also breastfeeding. If you cannot breastfeed, you can still take care in how you feed your baby. Try to avoid soy formula because it has hormonal effects on the baby. Also, it has a high phytic acid content, so it binds the minerals so they're not easily absorbed, and so the child does not get as much. Also, soy milk is a highly processed food. If you think how much it takes to change a cow milk into food for a baby, think of trying to make a bean and turning it into milk. It has to be dried and pulverized, deodorized and bleached, and additives, and all those additives to make it healthy for a baby and to look like milk. Also consider how you feed your baby. A baby in the mother's body is used to being held 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so infants need a lot of human contact still. So when you feed the baby, make sure you hold it so they get that nurturing, and that warm human connection while they're getting their food. This is much better than just sitting the baby across the room and propping up the bottle and letting them eat by themselves. Food consumption should be nourishing. It helps digestion, and if you're holding the baby, there's that sense of wellness and relaxation so they get more out of their food. Also, use glass bottles if possible to prevent chemicals from leaching into the milk from the plastic. They're taking out BPA now, but they always have to add something to the plastic to keep it more flexible. If you notice your baby developing anything like rashes or eczema or getting tummy aches, check out what the mother is eating or the ingredients in the formula to see if there's anything that's aggravating the baby's condition. Other signs of food intolerance can be, constant itching of the nose, a constant runny nose, or dark circles under the eyes. And ask, do they get an earache every time they visit grandma and she gives them ice cream? Or if the mother's breastfeeding and she eats broccoli, does the baby get a tummy ache? Be observant or write things down so you can see the pattern. Avoiding the offending foods can solve a lot of problems in babies. If you are breastfeeding, eat a diet with numerous healthy proteins, fruits, and vegetables so your baby becomes accustomed to those foods in your milk. So they they choose better choices when they go on to solid foods. When you eat a food and you're going to breastfeed, those chemicals and nutrients circulate in your body. They get into your breast milk. The baby eats them so that when they are ready for solid foods, they can recognize, oh yeah, this is a taste that I recognize, that is food. And oh yeah, I can eat this too because I recognize the taste and it's a healthy food for me. So if you're eating healthy, your baby's more likely to choose healthier options in the future. Whereas if you're eating this, the baby will say, oh, a donut, this is food because I recognize that flavor as a food of choice. So your choices as a mother can help the health of your child in the future. Also, research has shown that fruits and vegetables can actually turn on good genes and turn off bad genes. This is called epigenetics, and there was a researcher who won the Nobel Prize a couple years ago for this discovery that you can actually affect your genes with food. You're not just, here's your blueprint you're born with and this is what you're susceptible to and you're going to get it. Your diet really can affect what gene expression you're going to have. So you can really affect the future health of your child by determining what they're eating. And it's never too late to change diet behaviors. Even older children, it's much better for them to start eating healthy and turn on those good genes even at a later date. Now, signs that a child is ready for solid foods is that they can sit up, they can hold their head up, they're starting to cut teeth because they're ready to start chewing food. And also observe if they have the ability to swallow. If you try to feed them some soft food and most of it comes out or it's all over their face, a lot of times they're not coordinated enough to swallow solid foods. So you can always wait a little bit. And don't introduce highly allergenic foods in the first 6 months, like egg or nuts or citrus, also soy and dairy. But usually try them before 1 year. There's that little window of opportunity that research has shown that the body seems more accepting of new foreign proteins. If you do this practice, you can avoid some of the food sensitivities that children develop and avoid a lot of problems. Also avoid honey in the first year because the baby does not have enough stomach acid to destroy some potentially dangerous spores that can be found in some honey. Also, you can use a baby teething feeder, which is one of these. And what you do is you just stick a piece of food in there, give it to the baby, they can chew on it, they get the good nutrition, the natural flavors of good food, but you don't have to worry that they're going to chew off a chunk and choke on it. You can also use like a fork and mash up soft food or use a blender and create your own baby food. Avoid too much juice or sugar and grain. Your baby is growing very fast, and sweets can deplete calcium from the body and deplete the bone growth, as well as cause crankiness and tooth decay from the inside out. Body chemistry affects tooth health as much as what's on the teeth, so if you eat bad foods, it can cause tooth decay despite proper cleaning. Anemia can be a concern in children. Iron in breast milk is very bioavailable, but if your child does become anemic, you can grind up some stewed meat so that's soft and add a little bit of citrus to the meal, like orange juice or a little bit of lemon juice, and that really enhances the absorption of the iron from the meat because iron is very bioavailable in the meat. It's one of the best sources. But you can also add a small amounts of blackstrap molasses, which is also a high iron food. You can also buy in a health food store these Highlands. They're called cell salts, and this one, the label should say Ferrum Phos 6X. And these are wonderful. The children love to take them. They're very easy to administer. You just put a couple in the cap. You can pour them right in your child's mouth or put it in a little water. They dissolve almost instantly and they taste good, so they're easy to administer. They contain some iron, but they also help the child digest and assimilate iron from other foods as well. Plus, they don't constipate like some iron supplements can. As your child gets older, try different foods. Get vegetables into the diet where possible, even hide them if you need to, like even make like a broth and make soups, or grind them up. If they like a certain fruit, then do a smoothie with a fruit they like plus a vegetable that you can kind of hide in there so that the child is used to eating it and getting that good nutrition in. Veggie drinks, you can get like powdered veggie drinks that are sweetened with stevia, which is a very sweet herb, so it doesn't raise blood sugar like sugar does. And they taste good. Some kids really like them. One of my daughters really likes these. Or you can get good quality veggie gummies, which children don't realize they're eating fruits and vegetables like kale and spinach. They just think they're gummies and they're going to eat them. Just make sure they're high quality because you don't want the nutrition ruined by high heat or poor raw materials. Or try planting a vegetable or fruit in a pot. Have the child pick out what kind they want, or plant a whole garden. Help them plant the vegetable or the fruit, help them water it. If they get more involved, they're more likely to want to eat it. And experiment with foods. Just because your child is not like what you like, they might like others that you avoid. You can try like pickles or olives or lemons for children that like a sour food. Or you can saute some vegetables that you maybe have never tried. Get some fennel root, saute it up, see if they like that. Or you can try like raw peppers to see if they like those, if they don't like the standard carrots and celery that most children get. Also, you can try some, healthy dips that encourage children to eat like the fruits and vegetables. But make sure they're eating the whole thing and not just licking off the dip and then putting the vegetable back. My children really like these roasted seaweeds. I had never heard of them until I was an adult. My children, actually my whole family, loves them. They're loaded with nutrition and minerals. So if you find like a product that you're curious about, try it. It may become a family favorite. Just experiment. You can also make really cool pictures with food. Make a face or, something. I saw a picture on the internet the other day with a tree made with a banana with some leaves and orange slices were the sand. So, the children want to play with it, and then eventually some might end up in their mouth. Also make your children, make sure they get sufficient protein for the growth of their bones, their muscles, and also to develop healthy brain chemicals. Good sources are some of the eggs, fish, there's nuts, seeds, and meats that are not processed with a lot of chemicals. Hot dogs are a favorite of kids, but watch for all the chemicals that are in there. Try to watch the nitrates, and meats without any processing are the best. Now, essential fats are fats that are needed at all ages because they are essential. If you don't eat them, your body cannot make them. They are essential to achieve healthy hormone production, since most hormones are made out of fat. They also help the brain function better and have been known to help symptoms of depression and also ADHD. Any child with any type of inflammatory disease, such as eczema, asthma, allergies, will benefit from essential fats. The best sources are raw nuts and fish, like the fatty fish. But if they don't like those, another good source are fish oils or cod liver oils that have been tested for mercury content, because you don't want that heavy metal in there. Many fish oils are flavored so that they're more appealing toward children. This one is a strawberry flavor, but they have lemon flavored as well. Probably more than that. Cod liver oil can also be used to supply enough vitamin D if a child is not getting enough sun to produce their own in the skin. Vitamin D has been shown to be essential to the immune system and very effective against colds and flus. Vitamin D is also needed for proper bone growth and may help maintain a healthy mood as well. There's some evidence that vitamin D that's made in the skin can be washed off in the first several days before it gets in. The sun hits your skin, you make the vitamin D. It takes a couple days for it to actually get into the bloodstream and into the rest of your body. So with the frequent bathing nowadays, with the hygiene practices of frequent baths, especially with soap, since vitamin D is a fatty substance, a lot of soaps can wash it off the skin before it actually gets in. So even if your child gets adequate sun exposure, they may not have enough vitamin D. Also, sunscreen use prevents the formation of vitamin D. Cod liver oil or a liquid vitamin D supplement can make sure that they have sufficient vitamin D in their body, especially in the winter months when we don't get enough sun anytime in Michigan. Cod liver oil also offers vitamin A, which is necessary for the health of your eyes and your liver and your whole respiratory tract, like your nose and your throat and your lungs. So if you have a child that gets frequent colds and coughs, cod liver oil may prevent that tendency. You can also request your doctor to perform a vitamin D test on your child to see if they are too low or too high. Now the essential fats are essential, but some fats to avoid are the hydrogenated fats, which are manufactured fats which make food have a longer shelf life. These are the hydrogenated fats and the trans fats, and they're not natural, so your body does not handle them naturally. Hardening of the arteries has been found in children under 10 years of age, which is a sad fact. And there's many factors in that. One of them is these artificial fats, but also too many sugars and processed foods in children's diets. Since these fats are manufactured, the body does not handle them normally, but the body will still use them if that's the only thing that's available, so the function of the body is compromised. Other things to avoid include artificial colors and flavorings. They can be carcinogenic as well as affect behavior by affecting the children's nervous system. If you've ever had a child have a meltdown after having a colored dye, or if they become hyper after a flavoring, then you can see definitely how the chemicals in food can affect health. Another product to watch for is high fructose corn syrup, which is a manufactured sugar that is very sweet and is very cheap. So it helps food producers keeps their costs down. But fructose is very different from other sugars in that when you absorb it after you eat it, it goes directly to the liver. And the liver does not store a lot of sugar, so it turns it into fat. Well, the liver does not store very much fat as well, so it sends it out to the body. So obesity and triglycerides and high cholesterol will increase as simple sugar consumption increases. Your child will get enough fructose by eating natural sugars from fruit that also have the fiber in it to prevent spikes in the blood sugar and slow the release of the sugar into the body. Blood sugar problems are often a direct result of what a child is eating. If you notice your child is hyperactive, consider blood sugar problems, but also caffeine intake, mineral imbalances, food sensitivities, and decreased amounts of a chemical in the brain called GABA, which is a chemical that uses to keep a child calm, but it can be depleted in chronic stress or with a bad diet. I know some parents will get their child a coffee on their way to school. They'll get them a latte, but even decaf still has some caffeine in it, or they'll give them caffeinated soda pop. Children really have no need for caffeine. A lot of times it will upset how they concentrate. It can make them hyper or make them sleepy when the caffeine is out of their system. And soda has the added disadvantage of extra sugar or artificial sweeteners. Now with artificial sweeteners, they do not help children make healthy food choices, and research has shown that they can actually contribute to weight gain because they're so sweet. They stimulate a big release of insulin from your pancreas, and insulin is your fat storage hormone. Also, many of them have numerous side effects, from decreasing your immune system to neurological problems. You can search the government databases for all the symptoms that have been reported for artificial sweeteners. It is best to avoid them as much as possible. Soda pop and very processed foods really have no nutritional value, and actually they drain nutrition from the body. The body tries to use its vitamins and minerals to neutralize the acids contained in those foods. And also your body still has to use the energy for digestion, assimilation, and detoxification and get those materials out. So you actually end up with less nutrition than what you started with. overall you want to feed your children things that are less processed, things you can go out in nature and find, like, broccoli or an egg or, a chicken or an almond, something that you can actually find in nature and it hasn't been processed. All those processes damage the food so that it doesn't have as much nutritional content, but also it adds a burden to the body to get rid of all those artificial chemicals. Now, fiber is one component that can actually help your body get rid of a lot of unnatural things. It not only helps, daily elimination, but it's also a good food for your good bacteria in your gut. And your good bacteria produce a lot of things that make you healthy. They secrete vitamins into your system, as well as other substances that help your immune system become healthier. A large percentage of your immune system is actually in your abdomen, which is a good thing because that's where you're bringing in foreign material to the body with potential toxins and bacteria. So if your child's eating dirt or sand, then they're actually pretty well protected. Fiber also helps your liver do its job better. Your liver filters the blood, takes the garbage out, sends it into the bile, into the intestines, where the fiber can grab onto it so that it's not reabsorbed before it can exit the body. Fiber also helps a person feel full, so it helps with, making a person not overeat. It's so much easier to eat a whole bag of cotton candy than a whole loaf of a whole grain bread. So fiber also helps with portion control, which can be a problem with children. They have small bodies and small stomachs. They don't need huge amounts of calories at one time. So you can always use like small cups and bowls and plates to serve them on so you don't serve them too much at a time. Remember that juice has a lot of natural sugar, so don't overdo the juice, and for very young children, dilute it half and half with water. It's better really to eat the whole fruit that has the fiber still in it. For older children and teenagers, definitely make sure they are consuming enough protein and essential fats. It is common for teenagers' diets to fall apart because they have access to a lot of fast food, as well as processed snacks at school and other social functions where the parent doesn't have control of what they're eating. Again, the healthier a child's diet is to begin with, the more likely they are to stick with a healthy diet. Protein will help build their growing muscles and bones, as well as stabilize blood sugar levels. Protein prevents blood sugar from going up too fast after you eat. Well, if it goes up too fast, it makes a stress reaction on the body, which results in it plummeting down, which can cause lack of concentration, emotional instability, and moodiness. Protein is also the main ingredient used for produce brain chemicals that control mood, concentration, and well-being. So if you don't have the building blocks, then those can suffer as well. Essential fats are also a teenager's best friends. They help them build like smooth skin, nice hair, decrease inflammatory conditions, and also help mood in a time when children are prone to depression. Also, hormone production uses essential fats. So especially girls, when they start their menses, essential fats can really help cyclic problems as well. And stress that they don't need a large amount every day. Especially girls, it's not going to make them fat, it's just going to help them look better and perform better and feel better. Bone health is also enhanced with the essential fats, but bone, you need a lot of minerals altogether. Like if they were just calcium, calcium is very brittle. Chalk is mostly calcium. You need the major minerals, trace minerals, protein, and connective tissue to make strong bones. The health of teeth is also affected by nutrition. You want to have good, healthy teeth, make sure you're eating a good diet. Now, changing the diet can be challenging. As with most situations, moderation is the key. Tell your children, yes, they can still have treats, but try to make them as healthy as possible. But try to avoid having forbidden foods because that might just make them more attractive, and when they're out of your hands and they might overdo those foods. Healthy bodies can adjust to unhealthy food occasionally. It's just the chronic habit of unhealthy food that wears the health down. And health is an ongoing process. Don't try to undo years of unhealthy eating overnight, or your child might resist and you might give up. Choose an area to start with, and remember, children are great imitators of you. If mom and dad make good, healthy choices that they're showing they're happy with, children will often join right in. Eating healthier doesn't have to be expensive. A 2-liter of pop costs over $1. A 3 bag of carrots costs over $1. So which one has the better nutrition? Also, it sometimes happens that a child does have a good diet, they do have good habits, but they're still suffering bad health, or the parents have to have so much attention on what they're going to eat or symptoms come back. These children sometimes need a little bit more than just good diet, which other naturopathic practices can sometimes help with, like the herbal medicine, supplementation, homeopathy, etc., to help heal the other organ systems. And the goal of naturopathic medicine is to help the body heal itself using natural methods. If you have any further questions about naturopathic medicine, please feel free to contact me or look at my website. And thank you for tuning in. This is Natural Health. Look for additional talks on various topics in the future.